My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine from Willow Healing, and today I have with me Aiden Safvati. So he has found something that skilled migrants have lost, and he's here to return it. Aiden came to Australia in 2005 on a full fee scholarship to earn a PhD in a health-related field. He was at the peak of his career contributing to global health projects like the Global Blindness Prevention Program. Aiden thought Australia would take him higher, but instead the system stripped away the skills from the migrant status. His profession, his career, and everything he had built were taken from him. It took Aiden 15 years to reclaim what he had lost, not just his skills, but his sense of worth and identity. Now here he is to share what he's learned to other skilled migrants so that they don't have to wait 15 years to thrive again, and they can do it in just 6 months. He's here to break the cycle of survival and to start the journey to thriving. So a big welcome to the show, Aiden. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much. It's a great opportunity for me, and I'm really proud of the fact that I have the time. I'm given the time to have a chat with your audience at Willow Healing. So thank you very much for that.
Not a problem. And so tell everyone, when I met Aiden, we were actually at a business workshop, and he shared his story, and I was like, I need to talk to this man, and this is what everyone knows, I do these things. And so, here he is now on this podcast, and I feel like, Aiden, a lot of people would really benefit from hearing your story because people don't talk about it. People don't talk about how people come from overseas and they're putting through the rigmarole. It's not just studying and getting another degree. There's a whole other elements, which I'll let you explain.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Look, it is true. It is a little bit scary because you're always concerned, worried that if you start speaking about these things, maybe you will be blacklisted. Maybe, you will not be able to find jobs anymore, and things will be even worse than before. Because anyway, for skilled migrants, it is hard to find a job. What happens is that it sounds like, so when we are outside, I'm a skilled migrant, right? So I've been in the country for 20 years, but I still carry that title with me. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself by saying that I don't accept that title anymore, skilled migrant, because we are international professionals, and that kind of takes away the stigma. But let's not go there yet. So when we're overseas, we'll look at, okay, I have a certain level of capabilities, and I want to improve. I want to make sure that I know more than I know right now. Maybe I don't know enough. Maybe I can know more. Maybe I can go onto an international platform and function better and be more useful to a larger number of people rather than just doing what I'm doing right now. So with that background, you look around you and you realize that, oh yeah, there is this nice place, Australia, and they apparently need your skills because you're giving you the highest points. For example, in my case as an optometrist, 60 points, and that was the highest on the list at the time. So you're already getting 60 points, and there's no other profession higher than 60 points. So, hey, they need me. So if I go there, probably I can advance my career even further and do better. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because I've realized that even people who have a kind attitude towards people like me, they have a unconscious bias. So somebody came to me, one of my clients at my 9-to-5 working place, and said, hey, I know where you come from. Do you feel safe now in Australia? And I was thinking, what can I say to this? Because, if I start saying things that I have on my mind, I might be actually, saying things people will not feel comfortable about. So I answered with a simple question. I said, define safety. So I guess there is this kind of unconscious understanding and hidden consensus among the non-migrants that these people come because they come from a place where they're feeling unsafe. And they're coming to Australia because Australia is a safe place. Yeah. While yes, Australia is a safe place. And some of us come from countries which may sound not very safe. But for people like myself, that's not the reason why we are coming out. We are not running away from anywhere or anyone. We're coming out because we have this strong drive. We have this unsatiable willingness to learn more and to do more and to be more useful and to be more helpful. And that's how we feel like we're alive. So I sometimes think about supercars. So if the supercar would have a life to fulfill, would feel the life, probably it would feel, if somebody would drive it really fast and really, in a nice straight highway, then that would be the fulfillment for the Lamborghini, for the Ferrari. So that's the same thing for people like me. I'm not saying I'm a Lamborghini, because I'm not made of metal, by the way, but we do feel that way. We have a stronger willingness to do something more. We cannot ignore the times that we are not productive and we can't do, according to the level of things that we were given. So a lot of skilled migrants are like that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to become doctors. They wouldn't be able to become engineers, accountants, academics, teachers, high-standing people, business people of high standing. I know a person, in his own country, he has, according to himself, 4,000 stores. So he's a businessman of high caliber. But here in Australia, he can't do anything because his background is not recognized. Now, this all, to me, was more of a matter of frustration over the years. So because I couldn't practice as an optometrist, after I came to Australia, I came to Australia in 2005, so that's my history now. I came in 2005 on an Australian full fee scholarship. So that scholarship gave me the opportunity to come to Australia, do some research about the eyes, about what happens to the eyes if we reduce the level of oxygen at the level of the eye. And that's what, at the time, people were discussing. And 20 years before that, 50 years before that, leading to that time, people were discussing in terms of what happens under the contact lenses that we wear. So oxygen reduction and health issues, etc. Right? So that was the research that I did. That was the scholarship that the university gave me. Basically, Australian taxpayer paid for my studies to complete a PhD, which I successfully completed back in 2009, 2010 formally. Only then I realized that I cannot use neither my PhD qualification, so it's a local qualification, nor my undergraduate qualification. I went back to university. This time I did a master's degree, first a grad diploma, then a master's degree in teaching, secondary teaching. Only then I realized once I finished it, and that is another $60,000, so an initial $60,000 for the exams, requalification exams for optometry after I completed my PhD, exams that local optometrists do not have to take, and they don't take, not that they don't have to, they just, there's no such exam for them. So $60,000 there, 8 rounds of the exams, and every time they found something teeny tiny to tell me, go away, come back 6 months later. And then I went back to university, $60,000 again, 2 years of qualification, became a teacher, and then I'm applying for jobs, and I'm realizing that they are going to treat me as a beginning teacher. And that's after I had taught at the University of New South Wales part-time for 4 or 5 years, locally, internationally for 3-4 years, 7 countries, and in my own country, 9 years. So all of that experience was taken down back to zero. And on top of that, I would be paid as a beginning teacher, a teacher who has never done any presentations, never taught anyone. So What I'm trying to say is that people like me, we come with international experience that we can bring in. We can translate that information, that experience, as a useful means of, economic growth and health improvement, name it, depending on the person's qualification. That all can be translated into great benefits locally.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen because there are procedures in place which detect let's imagine that the gaps are real. Sometimes even the gaps are not real. It's debatable, I know. But I, for one, know what I know, and I know what I don't know. But there are times when if the gap is detected, and if they say, okay, you've got this gap, small gap or a huge gap, let's retrain you so that gap would not be there, so that we can put you to work, so that you could be productive for yourself, for your family, but more importantly, for the economy of the country.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So it appears that the priority of the system is to find the gap or create the gaps even, so that they could just eliminate a number of us people.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, like the whole loop there. So they're happy to pay for you to come out and to train you higher, but then they're not happy to then invest that money back into the system by allowing you to work and provide the service that you wanted to do in the first place. And I know a lot of people, I know actually an enormous amount of people who have gone through similar experiences. So a really good friend of mine is a nurse, and she's from Switzerland. Or she was a nurse, but she was from Switzerland, and she came out and she had to pass the English proficiency exam, which I understand because obviously you're speaking, like it's in medical field, blah, blah, blah. However, she said it was one of the hardest exams she's ever had to do in her life, and the fail rate was incredibly high, like incredibly. Like it was very rare people pass. She said, I think out of the cohort that she was in, maybe one or two passed, including herself, because she worked so hard to make it happen. But then I've also met another person, and this mum, her English was amazing, like incredibly intelligent. She was literally a rocket scientist. And when she came over from Eastern Europe to come here and start a life with her husband and everything, they would not recognize her qualifications at all and told her she had to go back and do it all again, which she at that point was like, well, I'm not doing that because you're not even guaranteeing me that I'll have work at the end of it. So, I fully understand where you're coming from and your frustrations. But I think when we were discussing too was your frustrations were the minute things that they were not passing you on, which was ridiculous in itself.
I can ramble about it for hours and hours because, like you said, I see people around me so many times, so frequently. The other day, there was this Filipino gentleman who started talking to me on the train. And then he told me how his friend, a lady from Vietnamese background, she couldn't pass the English language test just because she can't pronounce the sound X properly. She is now feeling completely not confident that she can go through the exams. She has just given up. With optometry, I've seen people who have given up. I had to give it up after 8 times. And a friend of mine jokingly was telling me, hey, if you see a dog and you call the dog from off the other side of the street, call it to come back to this side of the street, and then you start beating the dog, and the dog runs away, and you start calling it again, showing a piece of meat or something, and you do that eight times, the dog is not going to be stupid to come back again. It's not going to come back. You are still coming back for the exam. Don't do that. That's so silly. Some of us don't give up, but some of us give up really quickly. And because of that, we've got people who have lots of skills. There are things they can do.
Yeah.
But just imagine, I have actually published a book, and in that book I have put this example. It's like a butterfly and a naughty kid pulling out the wings of the butterfly and then throwing it on the floor. We are not normal people. I'm not saying I'm crazy. Maybe I am. But we are not normal people. There are people, I know people who don't mind. They just live their everyday life and they're happy with it. They are happy with it, and that's good. But people like me, we always strive for doing something more, doing better. And that's how we do bachelor degrees, master's degrees, and PhDs. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do any of those things. So once we do that, if we can't use it, if we will have to go back down to zero and do things that need no qualifications, then it's just a huge burden, and it's just a huge hurt that never goes away, no matter how you try to forget it.
And I feel too like the hardest thing through your journey too is that, despite your experience that is discounted, and you have to start again at the bottom. And it's almost like, it's like, oh, we don't care that you have all this experience. However, when you go for a job, if you were from Australia, that would get you the job because you have all this experience. So it doesn't really add up in terms of a logical point of view, because, you're all of a sudden being pulled in these two different directions. And it's almost like this identity change, right? Because you've come from a successful profession where you've been, got an established career, feeling like, okay, I can expand myself going to Australia with this offer of this scholarship. I get to do this amazing research, which, by the way, is in English. And then, then still finish that and get your PhD. But then, oh no, hang on, you have to do this extra bit, but we forgot to tell you. And what it reminds me of is, when the immigrants used to go into Ellis Island and they had to do that proficiency reading test in English to try and get in. And it wasn't necessarily they would give you any language that, and it was the same here. Like, when the people would come to Australia, they would give you this English proficiency test, but they wouldn't tell you what the text was in. They would just give you some random language and just be like, hey, you've got to figure this out, otherwise you can't come in. So it's almost like you're like, but I can speak English. I've obviously just passed my whole degree in English, so I don't understand what the difficulties are. So I guess where that mismatch is just how frustrating it can be, and it took you 15 years to step out of that, right?
Yeah, so it's for the very first time. Oh, I mean, I've been talking to people about this, but not in public, not in any way targeting the public. And the reason why I believe it should come out now is that two things happened to me over the last 4 or 5 months, which kind of made me a little bit more sensitive to things that I've been seeing around me. One happened in December. I read a piece of research work that was done by an apparently important economist. So I'm not an economist, but an economist has done a research. He's from the committee of, CEDA, C-E-D-A, Committee for, it's escaping from me right now, but something Development Australia, Economic Development Australia. So Committee for Economic Development of Australia, something like that. Yeah. And the gentleman's name is Andrew Barker. So according to that research, because of skilled migrants not being able to perform equally to their locally trained peers, assuming that they earn 10% less than locally trained professionals, the downfall or the loss of Australian economy and productivity per year is $4 billion. $4 billion loss of economic productivity for Australia. It's not personal anymore. So it's not just my problem. We have about 1 million skilled migrants in Australia, and 4 billion with a B divided by 1 million is $4,000. So that research is taking the difference at $4,000 per year. In my case, it's multiple times more than that. Yeah. And I know people many times over. So that Filipino gentleman and that Vietnamese lady, they are not making the money they were supposed to make at all. I'm not making that money. I'm a PhD. I'm working as an optical dispenser. Yeah. So I could make $200,000, $300,000, $1 million. Some people will argue with me, come on, an optometrist is not going to make $1 million. Fine. First, I know what are the regulations about businesses. So business people can make money and they can pay themselves salaries, they can pay family members salaries, they can put expenses for cars and everything else as their expenses of the business. All of that is some sort of an income. But in my case, when I'm making the 70 grand per year, which is already 2-3 times less than what I would be making if I would be a locally trained person, and I have a local degree, the penultimate one, PhD, and I'm not able to use it. And I have the master's degree, and I have a grad diploma degree, Australian degree. So I'm not talking about just foreign-trained professionals. You know, I'm talking about people who have already gone through local courses, full complete degrees, courses, and they're still not able to use them, or if they're able to use them, all their prior experience is completely disregarded. So it's not $4,000 per year. But if we assume that one of us is losing $4,000 per year in productivity for Australian economy, that racks up to $4 billion. Yeah. What if it is not 4,000 and it is 40,000? What if it is 40,000? Well, I personally know 3 dentists
and a lot
who are selling ice cream.
Yeah.
What is the difference between that and that, 2 jobs?
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, the amount of, I swear everyone probably listening to this has had this conversation. You have met a cab driver, more than likely, who will tell you how skilled they were in their country that they came from. And, you know, it is a form of, you know, why are the entry requirements different for someone overseas to someone who's here if they've already, like you said, completed the degrees and, you know, already showed they have the skills and gone through the process of being qualified in an Australian university and still getting told that they have to go through a separate set of things again. So there is a level of discrimination there because it's like, well, how am I different from the person next to me? And we both got the same marks. We both passed the same exams. We both sat the English tests and everything, you know, and all of a sudden there's a difference there. So, yeah, food for thought.
They take pride, actually. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you, but they take pride in safeguarding the Australian public from the malpractices of foreign-trained, overseas trained professionals. Mm-hmm. They take pride in that. But it's fine. Okay, maybe I'm coming from a place where the qualifications, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm just saying maybe I'm coming from a place where my qualification is not as good as a locally trained person. Fair enough. You have all the rights to safeguard the public. But how do we do that? We can find out what are the pitfalls, what are the gaps of my knowledge, and then train me for that rather than saying, hey, go away, come back 6 months later, pay another $3,000. Mm-hmm. Yes, that makes money for the economy, but the loss of dignity, the loss of identity, the loss of income for the person and for the nation is multiple times of that. Now, can I share with you the second thing that I realized just recently?
Yes.
Literally, it happened to me last week. I was trying to acquire a new set of skills, and that's about persons with disability.
Yeah.
And I came across this sentence: if a person with disability cannot access a building, the person is not the problem. Mm-hmm. The building is the problem. Mm-hmm. If a person like me cannot access the job market, if a person like me cannot work as an optometrist, as a researcher, as a teacher even, it's not a person's problem. It's a system problem. Yeah. It's a system that is not giving me access to the system. It's not creating. And I have already proven several times that I have the commitment to go through another round of training. And a lot of us are exactly like that. So I guess we need to look in terms of okay, we are trying to help persons with disability. We don't call them invalids anymore. We call them persons with disability. Maybe it is time for us to stop calling people skilled migrants, because skilled migrants, after all, are persons. They are professionals who have come out of their zones of comfort. Internationally, they are international professionals. And if they have things that do not match the local systems of practice, we need to look at it to see how we can put them to work. And if they are lazy, if I'm lazy, if I'm trying to run away, because what's going to happen? I will end up being stressed. I will end up getting diseases like diabetes and heart issues that are resultant of stress. And eventually I will not be able to make the necessary income. So I will become a burden of the national economy as well. So it's not just a loss of productivity. At the age of 55, I already just recently was diagnosed with diabetes. And if it will continue, if I lost weight, 25 kilograms, 27 kilograms over the last year to prevent that for myself. But eventually I will have to, I don't have a good income. I'm not suitable. I'm not fit for work anymore. And mentally, I'm not fit anyway as well, because I'm so frustrated. I'm so stressed. There are triggers that, this and that and that. And these people go down the drain of taking money from the government because they can't make proper money. Instead, so on one side, we are trying to solve the problem of disability, but it appears that on the other hand, we are creating disability by ignoring the potential that we have among our skilled migrants. And then we are saying, we didn't ask you to come to the country. No, actually, I was asked to come to the country. The scholarship, which has cost the Australian public $150,000, has been a call, come in, do the research. And a lot of are like that. So I want to repay the nation by being able to continue my line of research, which I haven't been able to do. And because of that, I end up having all those frustrations and then the diseases and illnesses, etc. Now, so that's the second thing that happened to me. I realized that a lot of things that if I would be a person with disability would be considered as against human rights, for a skilled migrant, apparently it's not considered as being against human rights. We have the right to living safely. We have the right to living with dignity. We have the right to live with our identity. As my identity, I have invested my entire life in studies. I'm an optometrist. Somebody the other day was telling me, now that you're not an optometrist. Excuse me? I am an optometrist. I'm an optometrist who's not able to practice in Australia. Because of that, I'm not able to use my PhD, even though I was teaching at the University of New South Wales. But because time has lapsed and I couldn't work I applied for multiple jobs and I couldn't. Every time they were like, your undergrad degree, your undergrad degree, your undergrad degree. Because of that, my PhD is not working out as well for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not a PhD. I'm still a PhD. So my identity, even though every time I go anywhere, I have to prove time and time again, I have the skills, I have these skills, I have these skills. So that's a huge burden. So that's one problem. I think the problem is clear. If you don't mind, I want to talk a little bit about solutions.
About what, sorry?
If you don't mind, I would like to also talk a little bit about solutions, because
yes, thank you. I
absolutely hate it when I have to talk about the negative things. Yeah. And then people think, he's venting. He's just putting his own monkeys on my shoulders, on our shoulders. No, that's not it. It's the definition of a problem. We are defining the pain point. We are defining the problem itself. How these people are suffering in shadows without daring to talk, without daring to come out and say, this is the suffer. And the suffer that we are tolerating goes beyond the borderlines of the country. My mother the other day, she was trying to send my brother 20,000 USD and he couldn't. And because of different issues, different problems, the money was stuck and she was almost having a heart attack. She's 84 years old. I haven't seen her for 6 years. I can't attend to her and I can't bring her over because to pay for her visa, I need $55,000 for herself. and then $55,000 for her husband. So $110,000 for a person who's making 70 grand per year and has to pay mortgage, has to pay food and everything else. That's just not possible. So the level of frustration that carries on continues. But if we keep talking about this, about the negative side, yes, it brings in the people who have those same pain points. I'm hoping that they're listening to us now, because I want to give away a very important point, which maybe saved my life. Maybe saved my life. I'm not saying that lightly. We can continue blaming the system. We can continue blaming people around us, those who think we came to Australia because of our non-safe background, because, somebody is looking down at me thinking like, my skills are coming from a third world country, from a developing country, derogative terms, and they call me skilled migrant. That means they're looking down at me with all those things, the same way as we treated persons with disabilities as invalid. Okay, I can continue looking at it that way, or I can take up a new way, a new point of view, and that is, the problem is there, but it's up to me as well to try and solve it, to take my stand and to try and find a way of solving it. So the answer is, for some of us, for me it wasn't, from day one. Before coming to Australia, I worked for international conferences as a simultaneous interpreter. My languages, even though I'm not Russian, but my languages were English, Russian, and another language, 3 languages. So English for me was not a problem at all. But for a lot of us, it's about English. It's how we communicate in English. Some of us think that our English is perfect, beautiful. I had very good results at the IELTS test. Maybe the first time, no. Maybe the second time, no. But then I managed to go through the test, or the OET, or other language tests. Maybe I succeeded. But what they don't realize is that when they are in work environments, their English, despite the fact that the grammar and vocabulary is great, might not be exactly what it is supposed to be. There are cultural differences. The way I speak, maybe I speak in a disorganized manner, but maybe a person who's locally trained is going to speak and write in a more organized manner. So that is the part of training that could be really important for any skilled migrant, or if I may, any international professional. So international professionals may benefit from certain level of retraining in terms of English language. I personally have solutions for that. I believe that I have come up with a breakthrough about languages whereby people can, from any level of English, in any language actually, so if you want to learn Spanish, you can use the same system, even though I don't speak Spanish. But the system allows them, helps them start learning any language and take it to the highest levels in, if they do it regularly, in even a few months, by doing exercises that will not depend on a teacher, will not depend on a class, will not depend on an app, will not depend on an internet website. Once they learn how to do it, they can do it. And it takes a month to learn the method. It takes 4 weeks, another 2 months to learn the process of matching how we talk, how we speak, to make it more clear for local people. So if I'm coming from a background, from non-British background, the way I speak, according to my supervisor years ago here in Australia, Aiden speaks in roundabout. I might still be speaking in roundabout. And that's the difference between someone coming from my background. We do talk in sort of spiral shape, going a little bit deeper every time, and again a little bit deeper, repeating things and then going deeper, repeating things and going deeper. Versus people coming from British background, they talk in a more linear way. So there's a difference between cultures. And those cultural backgrounds, we can actually help people, help skilled migrants, international professionals to adapt themselves to that system. I call that the 7 golden keys to learning languages and the 7 hidden principles of clarity in English. And then there's this concept that I call the 7 C's beyond grammar and vocabulary. So there are things which are very simple, very easy to learn, but we just are not aware that they exist. And then the next level of solution for international professionals is that a lot of us will need permission. So it is called requalification. It could be a membership of an association. So I need to be approved by the Optometry Council of Australia and New Zealand, Optometry Association of Australia. So I need permission from those two bodies. And an accountant needs CPA, I think it is called. So they need a permission. Surgeons need from somewhere else. So every one of us needs permission. What if we stop asking for permission? That's my proposal to any international professional. So it is actually a call on each international professional. If the system is not giving you the permission to be yourself, well, one of the things that we need to do is stop asking for permission to be ourselves. We can start repackaging our skills, learning new things that would allow us to use all of our prior experience, knowledge, skills to good use, maybe in a different way. So if I can't practice as an optometrist and I can't hold my breath till the system changes and allows me to practice as an optometrist, then what if I repackage my skills and use it all in a different way? That's my proposal. So if I recap, let's change the definition of who we are. We are not skilled migrants, because skilled migrants is like an invalid. We are the same way as persons with disability. We are international professionals with skills. We are highly skilled. And to prove that, we shouldn't be just saying we have skills. We should be able to demonstrate that we have those skills. To do that, we need to repackage our skills in a more usable form, safe, which would not require the permission, which is holding us back. And if that happens, then we will turn into leaders that we really are. And then we will be able to use those leadership skills, maybe create a business, maybe create something, not essentially drive Uber, not bring coffee to the table. I know accountants cleaning tables. I know accountants selling bread in stores. So many things, so many people like that. So maybe we can put together the skills. Maybe these international professionals can come together, help each other with ideas, and somehow come out of the situation where they're being held back and the Australian economy is not seeing these skills, and instead of helping these skilled people come up and work in a more productive way, the system is asking for more skilled migrants to come to Australia. So the more Lamborghinis to hammer down and turn into push bikes and put them all around everywhere to see if they will be good push bikes. That's not fun. Let's use the Lamborghinis as Lamborghinis.
And if people were to come and work with you, Aiden, what do you help provide them? Because I know that's something that you're passionate about, helping those who have gone through, well, stopping them from going through a journey that you've been through.
So what I will be talking about is my way of walking my talk, sort of. So I cannot accept people saying that, oh, your skills are not good enough. I just can't accept that, because I know what skills I have in me and I haven't been able to use them properly. So what I can do is that I can put all of those skills into coaching, and I've done that. Over the last 10 years, I have coached a good number of people. I've been concentrating mostly on coaching people for language skills, to pass the IELTS test, to go beyond that and be able to communicate properly. But now I'm targeting specifically international professionals, or if you like, we can still call them for now skilled migrants, but targeting those people so that we will help them, first of all, get out of the way any language issue that they may not recognize even that they have. Get that out of their way first. And then after that is done, help them with thinking in terms of what kind of branding I can do for myself, what kind of business I can think about. If I have a business and I'm not sure, there are so many questions in my mind about creating a business, because I haven't been a businessman. I've been a nerdy person studying all the time. And all of a sudden I'm supposed to know all the skills that a businessman has. so many questions. We can help them with that. So I'm going through marketing courses myself, and I've been learning a lot in that area. So it's all about coaching people, helping them with their self-confidence issues because they've been hammered for a long time. So taking them out of that situation, helping them understand that their skills are not lost, it's just hidden, and they can repackage those skills, add some more skills to those, and use them to the benefit of themselves, people around them, their loved ones, their community, their country that they're now part of, which is Australia, or maybe migrants in other countries as well. And in the end, bottom line, help the economy. I think Australia is in a situation right now where globally we are talking about, hopefully never, but maybe recessions. Hopefully recession will not happen in Australia, but at least we know that all of us are being hit by the higher interest rates and problems like that, and the international situation in terms of tariffs that have been imposed on different countries. So maybe this is the particular time when we should be thinking in terms of how we can use our existing human resources inside Australia rather than thinking consistently about bringing more of these people. Think about the existing human resources, the existing skilled migrants. Look at them not as people lower than ourselves, but people who actually have international experience. See in what manner these international experiences can be used and translated into, benefit for Australia directly. And if there are any gaps, why not help them fix those gaps so that they could use those skills, knowledge, and experiences, come up with all the innovation that this economy needs, particularly in this time of, our era. Instead of losing $4,000 per year, what if we could generate $40,000 per year per person? $40,000 for a million people, a million skilled migrants in Australia, that's $40 billion. Is that going to be good for the economy of Australia? I bet it is.
And if people want to connect with you, Aiden, and come and work with you or get some coaching with you or just really, or even find your book, where can they head?
My books are available on Amazon.com. There are 4 of them already. One of them is called From 000 to 1010, which comes from my experience of being deep down in depression after my experience of loss of identity and how to come out of that. Very simple rules, very simple methods for coming out of that mentality of negativity. So that's one of the books. There are 3 books. One of them is English 10 Times Faster, and the second book is The 7 Golden Keys to Learning Languages. The next one is 7 Hidden Principles of Clarity in English. Those are available on Amazon.com. In terms of coaching, the coaching is basically based on those 4 books. The first part, which is English 10 Times Faster, is more towards changing the mindset of people, how we can learn English. We don't need grammar. We don't need to memorize words, grammar rules. We don't need to do any of those things that, to me, is an absolute waste of time. And look, I'm speaking English, and that's not even my second language. That's my third or maybe even 4th language. And that's how I speak English. And I'm not thinking about grammar. If I'm not thinking about grammar, why should I be learning grammar? That's a kind of a disruption of the English language learning market, I understand, but that's the truth. So I teach that to people free of charge. So English 10 Times Faster, how to do that, how to, it's not the how-to part of it, but just transferring the information to people that you don't have to memorize grammar rules. You don't have to memorize vocabulary. If you want to start learning right now, say, for example, Russian or Ukrainian or, I don't know, even an ancient archaic language like, I don't know, name it, Sumerian. Even if you want to learn any of that, you don't need grammar. And I say the example to give away right here is that once you want to switch on the TV, you don't care how the TV works. You just want to be able to operate the remote control. And you don't really care how the remote control works, how the TV works. Knowing grammar, knowing vocabulary is the structure of the language. You don't need the structure. You just need to know how to operate it. That's the free part. The second stage is the 7 golden keys that actually teaches people how to do that. The third part is the clarity. And the fourth part, we just take people all through the confidence issues and what is their present day condition, what is their hell, so to speak, and what is the paradise that they want to reach, and how we can create a roadmap for them so that they could reach that paradise in the shortest possible time using those leadership skills. How to contact me? One, they can, whoever is interested can have a look at the books online. They're not too expensive, I'm hoping. So that's the lowest barrier of, learning, downloading kind of things that I have on my mind. But the most up-to-date, there's a website, abstractwisdom.com, abstractwisdom.com, even though my mind is not that abstract, unfortunately. But abstractwisdom.com is the website. My telephone number is there. And the email address is info.abstractwisdom@gmail.com. info.abstractwisdom@gmail.com. I'm just hoping that I will be able to put through the free phase as many people as I can, because we just want to change their mindset and mentality, understanding that there are things they can do without high expenses. Coaching takes time. At least we can give them a roadmap of what they need to do, and that happens in an interview, in a 45-minute interview. So at least I can assess their present-day situation and what is it that they want to do, where they want to get to, what are their major challenges, what is holding them back, and how possibly those issues can be solved. So that's what happens during the 45-minute conversation. And then they can do either all by themselves, or they can see if we are a good match to work together and find ways of, coaching and solving the problems in the shortest possible time.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to put all those details in the show notes as well. So thank you for sharing such an important topic and your journey, Aiden, and how you're now using your experience to coach other people and empower them to, not go into that state of depression that you went through, but also providing hope for them that there are ways that they can, essentially try and make a new system, but at the same time, also ways that you can help them, coach them through getting through those English exams and hopefully getting into the profession they want to be in.
I certainly do hope so. If I may, I'd like to also say that I'm learning a lot from you running the podcast. So what I'm thinking of is, it just occurred to me yesterday actually. So I'll be running some 10 live short presentations, 15 minutes each, over the next few weeks, hopefully. And each of them will be dedicated to a short topic along the same lines as we discussed right today. So I'm working on that. That's the near future, where we will try to draw parallels between disability and skilled migration, international professionals, and to see how we can use these parallels to improve the situation and to attract attention to the situation of international professionals and help them by doing so.
Awesome. Well, excellent. And we'll make sure to have all those details in the notes as well once this episode is released. So thank you for your time, Aiden, and thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you for your time, Catherine. Thank you so much. And I hope that these words did not bore our audience, your audience. I hope they just will find maybe something interesting, something important, something that will improve their life a little bit.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.